Book Talk. You need this book. This book destroyed me. Let's look at the emotional manipulation behind BookTok's biggest bestsellers and the marketing machine behind it. I'm Will, I host the Board Book Geek, and welcome to this episode. Like, sub, and tell me what you think in the comments below. Remember, Patreon and memberships are available. Let's talk about something that's hard to admit, especially for those of us who love books. We grew up escaping into them. It's a tough pill to swallow, but this needs to be said. Book culture has a manipulation problem, and it's thriving on platforms like BookTok, Bookstagram, and booktube. This isn't an attack on creators. Most aren't aware they're doing it. And this isn't about readers, it's about the system behind the curtain, publishing houses, marketing strategists, algorithmic trends, and the psychology that's quietly leveraging to sell you a story. So let's break it down, not with a smirk, not with cynicism, but with clarity. Let's put that psychology degree to good use. You've seen the video, maybe you've made one, maybe you've cried after reading a book and felt the need to share it, and that's beautiful. But watch closely at what happens on BookTok when creators say something like, "This book destroyed me. I haven't stopped crying. You'll never be the same." We're not just hearing that the book was powerful, we're being told we're missing out on a profound emotional experience if we don't read it. That's not a casual recommendation, that's a psychological tactic, whether acknowledged or not. It's what marketeers called FOMO, fear of missing out, except that it's weaponized with empathy. You're not just being excluded from a trend, you're being excluded from the group of people who have been emotionally changed by something together. It's not read this book, it's be part of the heartbreak. Publishers know this, they encourage it. In-house marketing will sometimes suggest book trauma or grief core angles because they work. Readers who want connection, especially young, emotionally invested readers, respond to pain because pain feels honest. And it is, but not all pain is authentic, sometimes it's engineered. Let's talk about tears. Not metaphorical ones, but literal ones. There's a wave of BookTok videos and Bookstagram videos where creators film themselves crying before they've even talked about the book. The camera's already rolling. There's already soft piano music and a ring light. The mascara is slightly smudged. Is it fake? Not always. Is it real? Sometimes. But it does become part of the sales pitch. We have to ask, why is vulnerability being packaged for consumption? The simple answer is because of vulnerability sells. When someone cries over a book, it triggers something called mirror neurons, the brain's natural empathy response. We feel like we're crying too. It bypasses critical thinking and hits emotional memory. We trust them. We trust the book. Publishers know that authenticity, real or manufactured, is a currency of BookTok and other places, and so campaigns lean into it. Some ARCs, advanced reader copies, even come with tissue packets. Some influencer kits are designed to look like emotional support boxes. It's marketing wrapped in therapy language, and it works. Another thing you may have noticed, nearly every viral book involves deep, often graphic emotional trauma. Parental death, abuse, terminal illness, SA, complex grief. Let's be clear, stories should explore trauma. But when trauma becomes the selling point, we have a problem. The writer, now I'm going to butcher her name and I'm so sorry, Plura Sagel, coined the phrase trauma plot to describe this trend. Stories that rely on shortcuts to depth. On BookTok, trauma isn't just a plot, it's advertising. And you'll see captions like, "He was abused, she's broken, together they heal. This book made me sob for hours, you'll never recover from chapter 37. These don't tell you about the characters or the themes, they don't hint at literary craft in any way, they promise emotional collapse, and if you don't collapse, that's on you. This creates a toxic loop. Books are chosen not because of writing quality, but because of how Effortlessly, they simulate emotional devastation, and creators, knowingly or not, feed into this cycle because it gets views, likes, shares, and sales. Okay, let's switch gears for a second. If you've ever been love-bombed in a relationship, you know how intoxicating it is. You're perfect. You're everything. You're all they've ever wanted until one day you're not. Personal experience. BookTok does the same thing. With books. A book goes viral and overnight it becomes a sacred text. People don't just love it, they worship it. Comments flood in, "This book saved me. It healed something I didn't know was broken." And this isn't just a book, it's a lifestyle. The stakes are immediately set sky high. If you don't like this book, you're accused of lacking empathy or just not getting it. This isn't a healthy reading culture. It's emotional manipulation dressed up as literary enthusiasm. And it sets impossible expectations for readers and writers. Although this isn't new. Let's go back. Let's go back in time. Humans have always turned to emotionally intense stories. The ancient Greeks gave us works that are rooted in trauma, fate, grief, and impossible choices. Tragedy wasn't just accepted in ancient literature, it was reviled. Catharsis, the process of purging emotions through art, was centered to why people went to the theatre in the first place. We're drawn to pain because it helps us process our own. And the best books, whether they're 2,000 years old or 2 weeks off the press, often hurt. That's not a flaw, that's their power. So the problem isn't emotional books, the problem is how they're being used. Today, instead of tragedy being part of a reflective journey, it's packaged, turned into an aesthetic, sold like a viral product. The goal isn't catharsis, it's conversion. The arc of emotional pain is compressed into a 30-second TikTok. Your tears become part of the marketing funnel. And when this becomes the norm, we lose something. Not just trust in the books themselves, but trust in the authenticity of the emotional experience that we share. If you're a reader, and pause before you buy, ask yourself, do I want this book, or do I want to feel what the influencer felt? If you're a creator, remember you're allowed to share emotional reactions, but try to balance them with something deeper than "this book wrecked me." What was the book really about? Did the writing hold up? Is the author using trauma to explore something meaningful or just to provoke? And if you're in publishing, please stop designing campaigns that equate crying with quality. Let books breathe, let stories speak for themselves, and let it be a thing. BookTok, Bookstagram, and short-form videos in a whole, even booktube shorts, is one of the most fascinating and emotionally charged spaces on the internet right now. And it can be a force for good. But if you want to keep it healthy, if we want books to remain more than just vehicles for emotional manipulation, we need to start having honest conversations about how and why they're sold to us. Books can change lives, but no story needs to break you to be worth reading. Sometimes the best books are the ones that whisper, not scream, and that often gets lost in the marketing machine. Remember, when you get an ARC, most of the time you will get a list of key phrases, the angles, especially bigger influencers. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this and see what's happening. So, if you like this episode and enjoy a little bit of psychology, please like, subscribe, and tell me what you think in the comments below.